Welcome to another Cardano update. Like always, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and you want access to our daily Discord updates. Speaking of the daily Discord updates, as you can see, yesterday we posted many of them because I believe something extremely interesting is about to happen in the market. But before I talk about that, let's look at the 4-hour chart for a second. Here today we are going down, which is not surprising because yesterday I gave you a resistance level for the B wave. So if we actually start going down right now, we have a support zone on the chart. As long as we stay above the 0.618 support level over here, which is at 63.8 cents, this could easily turn into a much bigger ABC for the third wave, meaning that the road to 75 cents is still likely. But keep in mind, my main scenario right now is that Cardano still forms another low in the C wave, just because, for the time being, I'm still expecting Bitcoin to hit $100,000 in the next couple of days, or even maybe next week or so. Yes, we did get a close above the bull market support band over here on the weekly, but that's pretty much exactly what we did last year as well. If you take a look at this move over here, when we almost got to the moving average, or I'm sorry, the trend line on the weekly RSI, as you can see, we did not quite touch the trend line, and after that we got a bounce. The bounce put us above the bull market support band. It got us a wick above the bull market support band, but then we had a drop, and as you can see, we went from $69,000 all the way down to about $49,000. Why did this drop happen? Because we had a cross of the bull market support band, but also because the trend line on the weekly was not tested. So even though people were starting to get bullish in this area, like they are getting, right now, at the end of the day, we did end up getting another low, and that was because the trend line was still not tested. And as you can see here, even though we had a huge drop, the trend line was still not tested, and later on we still had this move. I'm gonna talk about this move soon, but before I do that, let's quickly go to what's happening right now, because I think the exact same thing could happen again. So in this move to the downside, we did not get to the trend line, and then we had a bounce, as you can see right here, and right now there is a chance that maybe we go to the moving average on the weekly RSI, get rejected, and that's gonna give us another move to the downside, which is probably gonna put us at $100,000. But keep in mind, there's a Fed meeting in the next couple of days. We are probably gonna get rate cuts, and there's also a possibility that QT ends. If QT ends, then I'm going to go ahead and say that maybe we're not gonna get this move to the downside, because usually when QT stops, that's when the altcoins and that's when the entire market pretty much starts going up. So the only way for me to turn short-term bullish right now would be to either stop QT or to get above the moving average right there on the weekly RSI. As you can see, in every single correction of this cycle, when we actually got above the moving average on the weekly RSI, after staying below it for a couple of weeks or even months, that's what confirmed that the low was in. Other than that, on the daily chart, on the 8-hour chart, we are above the moving average on the RSI as well, but here we have been above that moving average many times in this correction, and each time we got above it, we tried testing it and we always got rejected. So what we need to do right now is get a move to the downside, test the moving average, bounce off of it, and that could give us a move to the upside. But please keep in mind, getting another drop right now is my main scenario, because that's gonna be long-term bullish. As you know, I've been making videos ever since we were in this area, and I was telling you that this time right here could have been a good time to buy, because the price reacted perfectly to my 0.786 support level. And what do you think happened after that? We went up. So I'm long-term bullish, but for the time being, I think it's gonna be a better thing if we get another low, just because Bitcoin kind of needs another low before it can start going up. And also, what I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I mentioned something about the Discord server. Here on the Discord server, I mentioned we're gonna have a Fed meeting, and I think the Fed meeting is in about 2 days. Why is this relevant? Because during the Fed meeting, we're probably gonna get rate cuts. If you look at this website right here, the chances of us getting rate cuts are at about 96%, and usually when we get rate cuts, that's when the price starts going up. However, if you look at the Bitcoin chart real quick, and if you take a look at what happened last year after we had rate cuts over here during the correction right there, what you will notice is that in the first couple of weeks of the rate cuts, Bitcoin actually went down and it tested the moving average, or again, the trend line on the weekly RSI, and only after it tested the trend line, that's when Bitcoin finally started going up, and that's when it broke all-time highs. And obviously during this time we kept getting rate cuts. So what I want to show you with this is that, there is a chance we get another drop. because of the rate cuts, then Bitcoin could find a bottom hopefully next week. As I said over here, we had a move to the downside first, and then we got above the bull market support band and we broke all-time highs, and before that we even tested the trend line, so we could get a short-term move to the downside next week. That could put us at $100,000. We could test the trend line and then start moving up in November. I am only short-term bearish because here, for example, before we had this move to the upside, Cardano was actually going down, just like it was in this area, and just like it was right here in 2020, and just like it was back in 2017 as well. So I'm bearish for a reason. I don't think the price is gonna continue going down. As you know, I'm still expecting ADA to get between $3 to, let's say, even $5 or even $8 by the end of the cycle, depending on where Bitcoin dominance actually tops. So please do not think that I have changed my predictions. My predictions remain the exact same. I am long-term bullish, but for the time being, I think a drop would be the healthiest thing to get right now, because that could complete a second wave move down right here and a much healthier looking C wave. And also it could test the trend line on the weekly RSI on the Bitcoin chart. And yeah, after that we could finally get to all-time highs, hopefully. So that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our daily Discord updates. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.